Tutorial on casting a resin green lantern ring. First thing we have are the supplies. A good mold. This is a John Stewart / Hal Jordan silicone mold. The next thing you need is your resin. I am currently using Bondo fiberglass resin found at any Walmart automotive section, as well as the corresponding hardener chemical for it. Generally takes about 2 ounces of resin to make this ring. First thing you do is you prime the mold by slipping the PVC cylinder over it. You want to make sure you get this all the way down onto it. Otherwise, air will get in through the side of the mold, causing very nasty air bubbles within the ring. The ring will fail, as you can see there. This was caused by 2 air bubbles. Now we are going to continue getting this as far down as possible to where you have a nice stable platform. Next up is, first off, always work in a ventilated area. We are now going to crack open the Bondo. Channel locks work great for it. Now, since I've been casting a couple of these up, I know it takes about 2 glubs out of the top of this to make one. There we go. Nice big syrupy mess. I currently use standard wood toothpicks to mix up. I use 24 drops of fluid. Okay, well, what the hardener does is it causes a chain reaction within the resin. It's a catalyst that will make it harden. Using the toothpick, we mix it up. And then we pour it into the access hole on the mold in stages. The first stage, I have a tendency of pounding down on the mold. This helps to release any air bubbles that are inside the mold. And then also take the toothpick and I kind of poke around on the inside of the mold, make sure that any of the air bubbles that did come to the surface have released. You can kind of see them popping up there. And we now have more room for more resin. And again, more tamping. More digging around with the toothpick. I have a tendency of pushing some of that excess mold, resin back into the mold. Last stage, I hope. Poking around, getting more of the air bubbles out. A little bit more tamping. This time I'm going to do something a little different than just tamping. I'm actually going to take the mold, lift it in the air, and push up on the bottom. As you can see, that makes kind of like this nasty little bubble show up. This also will force out more of the air. I wait till I get enough resin in there to do this, because otherwise I'm just pumping air. I don't suggest you do this too much, because again, you are forcing air into the mold at the same time. And back to more digging around with the toothpick. Nothing. Well, there comes an air bubble there. Force more out of it. Let's see how far it comes back up. Oh, we're back. So And you kind of have to work a little quickly with this because it'll set in about 10 minutes. It'll get all gel and nasty looking in about 10 minutes. Okay, once you see that the air bubbles are starting to push out quite a bit of resin before them, then you could be almost assured that most of the air is out of the mold. Case in point right there, it just kind of pushed up most of it. Once again, it's pushing up more resin than air. I also have a tendency of squeezing the sides and again on the bottom. Kind of reminds you of that, you know, movie The Blob. So, now what we're going to do is we're going to let this sit and let it cast up. Now if you're married like I am, you always want to make sure you clean up your area because the wife will kill you. And resin is easier to clean when it's wet. Now then, what I do is I always mix up more than I need. And what this allows me to do is play with the resin a bit, so I can tell roughly about what stage of curing the resin on the inside of the mold is. Now always remember, since this is a silicone mold, what'll happen is it'll trap all the heat. Resin gives off heat when it is curing. It's a chemical reaction. Stuff on my fingers. And I just kind of play with it and stir it up, and eventually it'll start to turn into a gel compound, and then from there it'll harden further. And that lets me know that, okay, this is just about ready to pull from the mold.